All right, let's talk about a creature you've probably seen, maybe even owned. It's in fish tanks all over the world, known for its cool shell and for being a pretty good cleaner. But what if I told you that same little guy is also considered a global menace? Yeah, today we're diving into an animal of crazy contrasts, a creature that's both a beloved pet and a seriously feared invader. So here it is, the apple snail. On one hand, yeah, it's a great little janitor for your aquarium, but on the other, it's one of the most destructive pests on the planet, racking up billions in damage to crops we rely on. So, what is it? Friend or foe? Well, the answer isn't simple. And, believe it or not, it leads us to a discovery that could literally change the future of human medicine. Okay, so first up, let's look at the side of the apple snail that most of us know. You know, the one you'd find in a home aquarium. It's quiet, it's helpful, and people love it for its awesome looks and its knack for munching on algae. And part of what makes it so popular is just how, well, weirdly cool its biology is. Get this, it has both a gill for breathing underwater and a lung for breathing air. And to switch between them, it sticks this little snorkel-like tube, it's called a sipho, up to the surface. It's a brilliant little trick that lets it survive in really low oxygen water, where most other critters would be in big trouble. That makes them super, super resilient. Now, in an aquarium, that resilience is a major bonus. The species you'll most likely see in a pet store is Pomea diffusa, and breeders have gone wild with it, creating all these incredible colors. We're talking golden yellow, deep blues, even bright pinks and purples. Safely inside a fish tank, they're exactly what you want. Totally harmless, helpful little cleaners. But what happens when this snail gets out of the fish tank? Well, that's when the story takes a sharp, dark turn. It goes from helpful pet to, honestly, a global super pest. And this is the heart of the problem, right? In a tank, its huge appetite is a good thing. It cleans up all the gunk. But out in the wild, that same appetite turns into a weapon. A close relative, Pomacea canaluculata, doesn't just nibble on dead stuff. Oh no. It goes after healthy, living crops and just devours them, sometimes right from the roots. And we're not talking about a small problem here. This is a huge deal. Across Asia, these snails are responsible for catastrophic damage to rice and taro farms, putting the food supply for millions of people at risk. They're just relentless. They can survive frost by burying themselves in the mud. And the way they spread, it's explosive. A single female can lay up to 1,000 of these bright pink eggs at once. The next generation just spreads like wildfire. The threat got so bad that governments had to step in. After these snails absolutely devastated rice fields in Spain, the European Union did something pretty drastic. In 2013, they banned the import and trade of the entire Pomacea family. The risk of someone mixing up a harmless pet with a destructive pest was just too great. And it's not just about crops. There's a human health risk too. Apple snails can carry something called the rat lungworm. It's a nasty parasite, and if a person eats an undercooked snail that's infected, it can cause a really serious form of meningitis. So yeah, it's a threat to our food and a threat to our health. Okay, so let's recap. We've got a popular pet that's also a dangerous, disease-carrying pest. That seems like the whole story, right? End of discussion. But just when you think you've got this snail all figured out, the story takes another turn. And this one is, well, it's pretty incredible. This is where a scientist named Alice Accorsi comes in. Her team was studying what makes these snails so resilient, and they stumbled onto something just, wow. Astonishing. They found out that if a golden apple snail loses an eye, it just grows it back. And I don't mean it just heals over. I mean it regenerates a completely new, fully working eye. From scratch. And the process is just remarkable. The researchers would surgically remove an eye, and in less than a month, a new one would start growing back. And this new eye would completely form, and, this is the critical part, it would actually rewire itself to the snail's brain. It would restore its vision. This is like a biological superpower you just don't see very often in the animal world. So why should we care? It's a cool trick for a snail, sure, but why does it matter to us? Well, the answer has everything to do with the kind of eye it's regenerating and the fact that it's shockingly similar to our own. A lot of what we understand about how eyes develop comes from studying things like fruit flies. But flies have compound eyes, right? Those things made of tons of tiny individual units. They're structurally really different from a human eye. But the apple snail? It has what's called a camera-like eye. Just like ours, it has a single chamber, a cornea, a lens, and a retina. The basic blueprint is the same. And this is where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. It's not just that the parts look similar. The genetic how-to guide they're built from is shared too. Scientists found that this key master control gene for building an eye, it's called PAX6, is essential for both snails and for humans. When they turned off that PAX6 gene in the snails, poof, no more eyes. It's the exact same genetic switch that we have. To really drive home how big a deal this is, listen to what a top biologist, Alejandra Sanchez Alvarado, said about it. He said, "It's not that Alice just discovered fire. It's that she landed on the moon. This wasn't some small, tiny step. This was a massive leap in our understanding of how a camera-like eye, an eye just like ours, can actually be rebuilt." So where does that leave us? What's the real payoff here? What can a snail's incredible secret actually do for the human race? Well, the core idea here is really profound. See, we humans, we don't regrow eyes. If our retina gets damaged, that vision loss is pretty much permanent. But, and this is the big but, if we can figure out the snail's biological instruction manual, the step-by-step guide for rebuilding an eye, maybe, just maybe, we could learn how to turn those same genetic pathways back on in ourselves. This research could be, as one scientist called it, a beacon of light for us. Just imagine it, being able to heal traumatic eye injuries, or maybe even reverse vision loss from diseases like macular degeneration. The secret is all about finding those tiny molecular switches that control genes like PAX6. And the ultimate dream? It's that these regenerative abilities are already inside of us, just dormant, waiting for science to find the key to wake them up. So we end up right back where we started, with this incredible creature of contrasts. It's a pet, it's a pest, and now it's a potential key to unlocking our own future health. Its amazing secret was literally hiding in plain sight all along. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other medical marvels are out there, just waiting for us to find them in the most unexpected places?